Most health-related entrepreneurs end up wasting thousands of dollars and countless hours on marketing that ends up going nowhere. And the reason I know this is true is because that used to be me. When I first got into business, I was literally trying everything. I was on all the platforms. Everybody was saying to repurpose your content and to start a YouTube channel and a podcast show and make sure you have an email newsletter with the drip campaign and that you have a primary social platform, but make sure you got to repurpose it and recreate it and re-content it for other platforms, and then you can just repeat the same things that you did in a video into a Canva slider, into a quote photo, and etc. and on and on and on and on it goes. And then ultimately you see no results and you're like, what the hell happened? That was me in a nutshell, essentially. And as I'm explaining this, you can probably see that the problem is that I was spreading myself way too thin. And ironically, that's what most health-related entrepreneurs do, is they try to be everywhere and they end up being nowhere and having no real impact on any form of marketing streams. As of recently, I've actually been living on a farm for the past 10 days, and these animals have actually taught me a lot about the power of focus and why that's relevant to your marketing. 3 animals in particular: the chicken, the dog, and the roosters. We're gonna get into all 3 of these animals and what they taught me about marketing and how you can apply this into your own business. Here we go. So great marketing is actually rarely about doing more and almost always about doing less but better. So most people's marketing efforts look like a chicken with its head cut off. Luckily, I've never had to cut the head off of a chicken, but I know what chickens look like with their head on, especially whenever I throw out a handful of sunflower seeds, is that they are wild, they are sporadic, they are scattered, they are all over the place. They will run from one side of the chicken coop to the other side of the chicken coop, and they'll fly around and they'll do a lot of crazy things. And well, this is actually what most people do with their marketing. They try to do everything. They try to do social media, email, blogging, events, podcasting, cold outreach, ads, and then they wonder why nothing's working. Well, in short, it's because they spread themselves way too thin. Dogs, on the other hand, don't seem to have the same problem, specifically the 2 Australian Shepherds that I was watching. When 7 a.m. rolls around, I can promise you, without a shadow of a doubt, they will be staring at me dead in my eyes until I feed them. They are relentless, almost annoyingly so. But that's also what it takes to succeed in marketing. You can't just show up whenever you want or whenever you feel like it and expect to have some sort of meaningful impact or to actually get the attention of the people that you're trying to attract. There are millions of other people clamoring for the attention of your ideal customers. And if you think your one-off random post video that maybe a couple people saw is actually going to have a meaningful impact on people, it's very unlikely. I actually just recently learned about this great marketing principle called the 7-11-4. And what that means is, in order for somebody to work with you or to reach out to you to be a client or a customer, they need to have spent at least 7 hours with you. They need to have at least 11 touch points, and they want to see you in 4 different places. Let's break that down a little bit. So 7 hours. So that obviously could be spread out over multiple occasions. But that's one of the reasons why long form content is so powerful, whether it's a longer blog or a video or an audio, is that can give you a lot more time with a potential client or customer to work with you. This can also be at events as well. The 11 touch points can be just random things, whether it's a random message or maybe they see an ad of you or maybe they get your email newsletter, but it could be just a random touch point, 11 of those. And then on 4 different locations. Again, this could be scattered. This could be on, maybe it's on LinkedIn, maybe it's an email, maybe it's a blog, maybe they run into at a local event, but just 4 different locations, because that gives that sense of like, they're in my world, they're in my community. But the 7-11-4 is really powerful, and it's just a reminder to tell you that you can't just have the random one-off of marketing and expect it to be effective. There has to be some degree of just making sure you're consistently getting in front of them. I'm not saying to spread yourself super thin, kind of like the beginning of this podcast episode. Definitely do not spread yourself too thin. I'm just giving you context of what it really actually takes and the amount of work it actually takes for your marketing to work. And the final animal I want to touch on, which is the most persistent of all of them, is the rooster. Every morning, no matter what, that rooster wakes up with a very clear purpose: to let the world know that it is a new day. He is loud, he is consistent, and he is impossible to ignore. In essence, he's actually the ultimate marketer, which is why I love roosters. So if you want to attract more leads than you know what to do with, then embrace your inner rooster. Here's how. Number 1, clarify your message. This seems so straightforward, but in reality, people are talking often about way too many topics, and it's way more important to get super clear on what it is you do and who it is that you help. Just like the rooster, you want your message to be clear, concise, and impossible to ignore. I once heard that clarity beats clever unless clever is clear. In other words, make sure your message is super clear before you try to get clever and fun with it. You can only get clever and fun with it if it is very clear what you're talking about. Number 2 is to target your audience. So you might think that the rooster is just crowing to anybody that will listen. Well, that's actually not the case at all. So roosters are actually pretty territorial, and they're actually crowing to show dominance or territory of their flock. And so they're specifically crowing to the hens within their flock and also to other roosters that might be competing with them. Your marketing needs to be very much the same. You need to figure out where your flock is, or ultimately who your flock is, and then getting in front of them. So this could be on a specific platform. This could be at a specific event. This could be a specific group of community or people. But it's important to know who your flock is and to crow specifically to them, just to use that silly analogy. Because the rooster that tries to crow to everybody ends up crowing to nobody. And the final thing, I know it's trite, but it's so true, and it's to be consistent. That rooster every morning, rain or shine, is going to get up and crow. Well, you need to be the same way with staying in front of your flock or your customers or your clients. I will say that the rooster doing that every single morning was a good reason for me to go to bed early, because I knew that he was going to crow and wake me up. But like I was saying, your marketing efforts need to be just as consistent. Not on the days when you feel like it, not when you finally have enough leads and then you taper off and then it's the whole feast and famine thing, not when inspiration strikes. Every single day, you need to be thinking about your marketing. I recently heard that until you are making at least over $1 million in revenue in your business, you should be spending at least 4 hours a day on marketing. That's how important it is. And I honestly believe that to be true. And just as a final recap, make sure to clarify your message. Make sure it's super clear who you're talking to and what you're saying. Focus your energy on something specific of where your flock is. This could be a certain platform. This could be a certain community, but whatever it is, make sure you're focusing your effort in a very specific flock. And then the third thing is to be consistent, be persistent, keep showing up. Hope this was helpful. Actually help health brands with their branding and marketing and message and websites and those sorts of things. If that's something you need, let me know. All right, peace.